Today we're going to introduce you to the
Shine Like a Ruby.
It's a fruity cake. And to explain a little bit about flavor, the top layer is violet, blackcurrant, blackberry and raspberry top layer, so it's very fruity. The second layer is a white layer with cocoa butter and oats, so it's very creamy chocolate layer. Yeah. So the third layer is blackcurrants, raspberries, oats and dates, and don't forget the most important ingredient of this cake, roast uranium.
Yes, this cake makes you very happy.
And then the crust is made with sunflower seeds, dates, cocoa powder, and of course lemongrass.
It's a lot of flavors, a lot of layers, a lot of fruity.
First we start with collecting the ingredients for the crust. We also add in cocoa powder, cinnamon, vanilla, some coconut oil and a lot of lemongrass for extra flavor to this cake. Now we add everything together and then we add the dates so that it gets really combined and sticky. So when it's really mixed together, we're gonna add it to the baking tin and divide it evenly, and then the real hard work starts. We have to start rolling with a lot of pressure to make sure everything sticks together perfectly, so when you cut the cake it doesn't crumble. So it's time for the finishing touches, so let's focus on the edges so that everything is smooth and level. Let's start collecting the ingredients for the middle layer, which is the fruity layer of the cake with lots of fruits, some creaminess of the coconut and dates for sweetness. Here we add in the oats and extra spices, so let's mix it together. Now we add in lots and lots of fruit, hence the very fruity cake. While we mix this together, we also add in the roast uranium, which goes really well with the fruit, as well as the violets that we use in this cake. These floral notes are part of the signature flavor. Look at this beautiful purple color. We divided it as evenly as possible to make sure that the layer will be perfectly straight, which is very important for the right balance in the cake. So it takes a lot of patience to make sure it's straight and a lot of technique. But as you can see, we're almost there. Now let's start melting the cocoa butter, au bain-marie, on the stove, which is part of the white chocolate layer, which is super creamy, and we're gonna put on top of this beautiful purple layer. Imagine the white chocolate, which goes really well with all the fruit and the floral notes of this cake. While measuring, we're also going to set aside a small portion that we're going to use for the decoration. Look at this really creamy white chocolate layer on this cake. Yum! So we're going to finish it off. Give it a little shake so it gets evenly divided. It's time to collect the ingredients for the top layer, which contains a lot of fruit, agar-agar and some date syrup. This fruity layer is going to give extra shine to the cake. Can you imagine why we call this cake a shine like a ruby? Not only the colors, but this top layer is part of the name. So when it's mixed together, we're gonna use a hand blender to blend it to a smooth consistency. When it's ready, it's time to put it on the stove. Frank is preparing the decoration for the top layer as well. Now we wait. We want to make sure that it reaches the boiling temperature so that the layer sets perfectly when we add it to the cake. So now it's time to measure the total amount and divide it by the cakes that we need to finish. As you can see, the mixture is still very hot, and that's why we have to be very carefully when we pour the layer on top of the white layer of the cake, because we don't want it to melt through the white layer. Look at this beautiful shine. So let's start decorating, which is the fun part of the cake. Now it's time to make some swirls and some hearts in this cake, which creates this beautiful marbled effect, which is also part of the signature of this cake. Which is always really fun to do and also very rewarding. So now add a few drops to finish off the cake. let's get back to the name, Shine Like a Ruby. You can imagine where the inspiration came from. And we're always having fun when we're doing this. As you can see, Frank is expressing his love. We believe that the decoration of a cake should represent what's in the cake. So that's why on top of this layer we're adding our flower confetti, which represents the floral notes of the cake. Now it's finished and it gets ready to go back into the freezer so it sets before we can cut the cake. So the next day we're actually going to take them from the freezer. So we start with putting the lines on the cake so that we cut perfect squares. We use these beautiful Japanese knives to make sure that we cut evenly. So as Frank is showing you now, you can see that all the layers of the cake are perfectly straight, which makes sure that the balance of the flavors is right. So in our boxes we put 16 of the cakes. Look at the detail. Seen a lot of techniques that we use in our bakery, and you see why we put on our boxes that everything is handmade with plenty of love. After baking, it's time for a tasting. So let's go.
Fork.
Cake.
Take your weapon. Your favorite weapon. Do you guys have a special cake knife? Because we do. Our cake fork.
So let me show you the texture. Oh, I always love to smell the cake first.
And just dig in there. How is it?
Yeah, what I love from this cake that it actually goes through many layers of flavor. You first taste super fruity and a little bit of acidity from the sourness of the blackcurrants. And then you go into a very sweet big layer. You taste a little bit of the lemongrass, and then the fullness of the roasted geranium comes through. And then you still feel the creaminess of the white chocolate and the crunchies of the crust. So you actually really go through this flavor process.
Also the sourness comes back at the end. You know, in the beginning it's like
Yeah,
soury, fruity, sweet, and then back again the soury.
yeah.
It's a really nice cake. And like a lot of people also said, like our cakes are like flavor journeys. So when you're eating it, you really like thinking about what I'm tasting, what I'm eating, and we really love that. You know that people think a bit more about what they eat and be a little bit more surprised.
It was a Valentine's special. I think that's also important. Because with Valentine we also love to...
You made it for me, somebody else.
I made it for somebody else. We hope you enjoyed our video and the behind the cake story that we shared with you today. Ready for more? Make sure to subscribe and follow us because we have a lot more stories to share